First in news, this is 10 Eyewitness News with Sandra Sully.
Good evening, I'm Sandra Sully.
It's Breaking the News with Jay Lafferty.
I'm Jay Lafferty and this is Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. And this week we're coming to you from my hometown of Greenock! With me this week are some of the best comedians around. On my right we have Crystal Evans and Gareth Waugh, and facing them are Glenn Moore and Kathleen Hughes. In the news this week, a scientist has said we need to be more tolerant of seagulls when we see behaviours we think of as mischievous or criminal. They say we need to recognise it as a really clever bird implementing very intelligent behaviour, which is also Michelle Moan's excuse for buying that yacht. A man who repeatedly bid against himself in an auction lost a small fortune by pushing the price of a painting up to £1,000. Afterwards, Craig Stephen put his hand up to admit his costly mistake and accidentally bought a Ming vase. And a woman who gave birth in Aldi was helped out by a midwife who had popped in for some yoghurt. Luckily for the woman, this week's middle aisle specials were forceps and an incubator. Right, let's crack on with round one. This is the Broken News round, where our teams have to guess two major stories of the week that have been mashed together into one single news headline. Crystal and Gareth, can you tell me what this is all about?
Scotland's controversial hate crime legislation has come into force,
with claims that some recruiters are demanding a so-called Scottish waiting. This weekend, 6 tax bans will be introduced
relating to age, disability, religion, sexual orientation, transgender identity or being intersex.
The government says Scottish tax policies are progressive,
but critics have expressed concerns.
Gareth, can you tell me what is going on with this mashup?
Well, it sounds like we're starting with a very funny story, the hate crime bill.
Yes, you are right. New legislation aimed at tackling hate crime in Scotland came into effect this week. The Scottish Government say the law will protect victims while ensuring freedom of expression is maintained. But critics say the law risks stifling free speech and overwhelming police resources. Now, I need to tell you, panellists, don't worry. Police Scotland has denied instructing officers to target comedians for arrest under the new hate crime law. I'm also told it has absolutely nothing to do with Des Clark taking a holiday this week. Crystal, what do you make of the new legislation?
Listen, take it from me, free speech is not going away, unfortunately. And no matter who you are or what your beliefs, there's always a group of people that we all wish would shut the hell up, right? And I've seen it in America like a million times. You know, these kind of laws are passed all the time, and you always get people screaming on a very popular right-wing news channel how they can't say anything anymore to millions of people. And, like, can I just say as well, I think, like, your right-wing news channel over here is so vanilla compared to ours. No offense. Like, over here, GB News will be like, taxes are too high, and why can't I make fun of vegans? And, like, in America, Fox News will be like, are gay babies punching straight babies right in the face, you know?
And where are they?
You have to tune in tonight at 6.
I think it's great, but does it mean that the police just have to be scrolling on Twitter now all day? And that's their priority? Like, you go to report a burglary and they're like, yeah, in a second, we just need to just quickly check what Big Knockers 2267 posted last week.
Why are you naming my account?
I'm going to ask you this one, because it's a little bit off the topic, but Kathleen, if you had the power to pass any law in Scotland, what would it be and why?
I think there is a very pressing issue in modern Scotland, and I'm sure you've noticed it, Jay. I've certainly noticed it. We're simply not thanking the bus driver like we used to. We're basically Londoners at this point. It's shocking. If I don't hear thanks driver when you're getting off the bus, it's 10 to life.
I'd get rid of work experience. I worked in a chemist at my local. It was the nearest place to my house, so I picked that. And they were like, "Oh, do you interested in being a chemist?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." I was 15, right, and I was doing a stock take, and I got to one drug. It begins with the letter V, that I'm sure a lot of people here are familiar with. And the Radio Scotland listeners, it was Viagra. And I marked one less on the sheet and pocketed one. I stole it. Because I'd heard of it, I went, that'll be a laugh, right? And I took it to my mate's house, right? And we're 15-year-old boys. The last thing we need in the world is Viagra. A bowl of fruit would do it for me sometimes. But me and my mate, we were kind of like bad enough that we would steal something like that, but we were also a bit lame because he went, let's read the instructions first. So we read them, and I don't know if you know the side effects, but they're intense. There was like instant death. And I was like, well, I don't want to die, so I ended up putting them back the next day. Because you can't die after taking Viagra, because you'd have to have an open casket for a start. What was the question again? I feel like I've admitted too much.
So you would ban work experience?
Yes,
that was your answer?
Yeah.
You would ban work experience?
Yeah, vote for me.
Callers to the Police Scotland Hate Crime Hotline will hear a message saying, if you want to report a hate crime relating to disability, press 1. For sexual orientation, press 2. And for ageism, ask one of your grandkids to show you how to work your mobile phone. Glenn and Kathleen, what was the other story we're after now?
So there are going to be 6 tax bans introduced in Scotland, and a Scottish billionaire, Sir Tom Hunter, has basically said people in Scotland are paying far more in tax than they will be if they lived anywhere else in the country.
That is absolutely correct. This is the news that one of Scotland's most successful businessmen, Sir Tom Hunter, believes the country would become more prosperous if the government made income tax rates lower than in England. This comes in the week that Scotland's tax system undergoes a big overhaul. 6 bans will be enforced. That's double the number in place across the rest of the UK. And anyone earning above 28,867 will be paying more tax than workers in the other home nations. Kathleen, what do you think? Do you agree with Sir Tom Hunter?
I do see his point. Like, one of the examples that I saw that Tom Hunter gave was in Ireland. So they've lowered tax rates there, and big multinational corporations like Meta and Google now have big headquarters in Dublin. And Dublin's thriving. It's a really good place to live, according to all my Irish friends who've moved here because they can't afford to live in Dublin.
Crystal, do you agree with Sir Tom Hunter?
I was just talking to Tommy the other day. I was like, baby, listen, we got to go further with this. World domination, you know? He's like, how did you get into my bathroom? No, I do know what he means about the lower rates attracting people, you know. I have 2 kids, and I had them over here because it was free. I didn't even want kids. I just can't pass up a deal. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I mean, tax can be confusing, can it? Like, I've got a Costco card, and they don't include tax and their prices in there. You'll buy a bunch of stuff, and then you get shocked by the price when you're at the till. And you're like, is the 20 kilos of rice worth it?
Glenn, do you think tax should be made simpler?
No, it should be way more complicated, because we know that the existing tax system doesn't work because the richest people don't end up paying it. The billionaires don't end up paying their tax and stuff like that. So I don't think it should be based on stuff like income. It should be based on more arbitrary factors. It should go up and down based on the tide. Or the temperature. Do it based on the temperature. Someone would be like, God, it's hot out there. And it's like, you're telling me it's hot to sell my car.
I went to like an accountant to like help me out when I started before I realised I didn't really need them. But he said to me, this made me laugh so much. He was such a serious guy. And when he found out I was a comedian, he was like, oh, and he went, now, hang on. If you're looking for some sort of Jimmy Carr deal, there's the door. And I stood up and went, oh, well, thanks anyway, mate. And he didn't realise I was joking, so I sat back down. I was like, no, this is perfect, whatever you want.
Kathleen, what would you do to make Scotland more prosperous?
I think we're due a bit of a rebrand. on some Scottish essentials. I think we could turn Kaylee into some sort of fitness thing. It's Zumba with a buffet. Do you know what I mean? It's done already. Or I was reading this thing about how Nessie contributes £40 million a year to the Scottish tourism economy. So I think we just make up some other things to put in lochs.
I'm with Kathleen. I think you need to sell more useless tat to Americans, you know? You already do it a bit, but you need to go further with it. You know, like bottle your rainwater and tell us it has electrolytes, or like, do you know what I mean? Like make a tartan for every surname in the world.
Scotland has 6 different tax bands compared to England's 3. England actually has a tax-free band. They're called Take That. Well done, Glenn and Kathleen. You guys get 2 points for that. It was the mashup of controversial hate crime legislation and new tax rules in Scotland. And at the end of that round, the teams are all square. Much of our news is about public opinion, so to find out what stories people are talking about, we spoke to 2 friends of the show, actor and writer Manjot Samal and actress and broadcaster Gail Porter. Glenn and Kathleen, what do you think that Manjot is on about here?
My wife and I have gone through this process and we had a massive list. It wasn't just us, it was grandparents getting involved, my sister, her brother. Everyone had an opinion because at the end of the day, it's something which is going to affect someone for the rest of their life.
Is this the increase in very unusual baby names in Scotland?
That is correct. Well done. This is the news that 2023 was a record year for unique baby names in the country, according to the National Records for Scotland. And these included boys' names Boy, Demigod, and Howl. New girls' names in 2023 included Pasty and Costly. Sounds like somebody had a memorable trip to Greenock's new Greg's Drive-In. Listen, to be fair, when they got her home, she still had a wee heat in her. It was good. Gareth, do you like Scotland's new baby names? Now, you've not long had a baby.
Yeah, I have a 1-year-old boy. And I remember naming it. We actually had a dog before we had the baby. Which is, I don't recommend doing that because what happens is you use the good name on the dog. Because we named our dog Harris after the beautiful island in the Outer Hebrides. Just an amazing place, really stunning. I can't think of anywhere that epitomises Scotland more than Harris. And my son we called Arlo, which is a stupid dog's name, innit? We got them the wrong way around. So, yeah.
Crystal, do you like Scotland's baby names?
They're fine. But, like, I'm just imagining, like, what the first school meeting will be like, you know, when the parents come in and talk to the teachers. Like, listen, Demigod is a lovely boy, but he needs to stop levitating the other children around with his mind.
It's fully about what someone does with their name. I really respect, say, Nicolas Cage, for instance, because that isn't his real name. His real name was Nicholas Coppola, and basically his uncle is Francis Ford Coppola, who directed The Godfather. And when he wanted to become an actor, Nicolas Cage decided he wanted to do it on his own terms. He wanted to do it on his own success. So he changed his name so he wouldn't be seen as being like a Nepo baby or anything like that. And then I found out recently that Moby, the DJ, isn't called Moby. It's just that he's related to Herman Melville, who wrote Moby Dick. That's not even the name of the author. That's the name of the whale. That's the worst case of nepotism I've ever seen. That's like if George Lucas's son called himself Jonathan Star Wars. And everyone goes, oh, why have you got my surname Star Wars? He goes, oh, God, I hate when this comes up. Yeah, it's a long story.
Jonathan Star Wars. I love it. Kathleen, does a name say a lot about a person?
I think it can. My name's Kathleen because we're from a big kind of Irish heritage family with loads of Kathleens and Noras and Marys. And I said to my mum, was I always going to be Kathleen? And she said, well, you were going to be called Rebecca if you were Jewish. And I I don't know how a Catholic lady thought she was going to have a wee Jewish baby. But fair play to her, she was very respectful of my beliefs even then. So,
Crystal and Gareth, it's your turn now. What do you think Gail is talking about here?
Scotland had a huge win this week on a certain programme. We are super tough. I think we should definitely have more 90s shows back because it was fun in the 90s. We were all having a laugh in the 90s. I think I'm back in fashion again.
I think she's talking about the show Gladiators has come back.
Yes, the reboot of Saturday night TV smash Gladiators has crowned its first champion, and one of them is from Edinburgh. Finlay Anderson, an army officer from the capital, triumphed in the final of the athletic competition, and he said he hopes to return to the show as a gladiator himself. Finlay says it'll be hard going back to the army after winning Gladiators. He keeps getting caught out in the battle, wondering if the enemy goes on the first whistle or the second.
I don't like the title, Gladiators. It feels a bit grandiose, doesn't it? Because like back in the day, like in Roman times, a gladiator was like somebody fighting for their freedom against like a lion, which you'd never even seen before. And now it's just like adult soft play. Just some guy going, watch me go down the big slide. And we're like, aye, okay.
Kathleen, are you pleased to see a Scottish winner of Gladiators?
Yeah, it was lovely. He said the most Scottish thing ever when he won. It was that he used to watch Gladiators around his granny's bit and he would play it being Eliminator. And then he grew up and became a Gladiator champion. It's really inspiring. It's so cute. It's like if I grew up to become the head off of Art Attack.
Oh, I love it, Glenn. Are you pleased to see a Scottish winner in Gladiators? Now, he was up against some English champions, so are you pleased that the Scottish won?
Oh, yeah, as the only English person in a room full of hundreds of Scottish people right now, yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Great to see a British winner. Anytime I ever watch it, I'm always like, yeah, I do really well. And then I think, what evidence am I basing that on? I don't have the constitution for it. I'm too weak for it. I don't have the immune system. I got COVID in 2015. I would not be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to do the trash talk. I wouldn't be able to do the confrontational stuff. I can't even disagree with anyone. This is an example. About a year ago, I was on a train platform and I was waiting for my train. A train came along that was not my train. The man behind me said, after you, and I got on the train. That was easier for me. I can't do
Polite
it.
to a fault. Crystal, what would be your gladiator's name and why?
My name, Crystal's already great for a gladiator, I think, amongst many other performing arts. Listen, oh, you know, I'm glad. Okay, good.
I don't like their names because, like, it's always like Hawk or Vixen or like Cougar or something. And those things aren't that scary because you don't really encounter them in real life. Like, they're meant to be like intimidating names. So I'd maybe go with something that is scary that you do encounter, like XL Bully, group of teenagers outside a shop, or HMRC. One of the three.
As Scott taking home the Gladiator trophy is the right answer, and 2 points go to Crystal and Gareth. You're listening to Breaking the News from BBC Radio Scotland with me, Jay Lafferty. This round is all about who is in the news. I will play you a clip of a mystery person, and all you have to do is tell me who it is. Crystal and Gareth, you're first this time, and who is this?
And I thought, we've not put in this amount of work for things to just go back to the way they were. This has to change. And people were encouraging me to put my name forward.
Is that Mary Black, who is going to be doing a comedy show at the Fringe? Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Bang on the money. It is Mary Black. Mary Black will make her Edinburgh Festival Fringe debut this summer with a comedy show that pulls back the curtain on her time in Westminster since being elected to Parliament at the age of 20. Mary's show will be promoted by the Gilded Balloon, which coincidentally is also her nickname for Jacob Rees-Mogg. Gareth, how do you think Mary will get on at the Fringe?
It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Like, politicians getting into comedy. Like, stick to what you know. You'd never find comedians talking about politics, will you?
Kathleen, it is your debut year at the Edinburgh Fringe this year as well. How do you think she'll get on at the Fringe?
I think she'll be great. She's had lots of experience of men who had a drink with lunch shouting over her while she's trying to talk, so she'll be grand.
Glenn, you have been to the Fringe many, many times. How do you think that Mary will get on?
I think she'll do great, because I think finding success at the Edinburgh Fringe is very similar to finding success as an MP. You know, it's significantly easier if you went to Eton.
Crystal, what advice do you have for an Edinburgh newcomer?
I don't know, like, we're all comedians, right? Like, we all see these new comedians come up here and they think that their pre-existing following that they gained on TikTok or Instagram or the House of Parliament is going to help them, you know? And then they're shocked when their story about Joanna Cherry gets only 3 stars from Steve Bennett. But my advice is, like, don't read the reviews, you know? If you really want to be one of us, then come cry at the pub, get drunk, and do something you really regret, and then that's going to be the basis for your show next year. That's what we all do.
Now, the final question on this is, what other politician would you like to see at the Fringe and why?
I think it all comes down to a show title, and they've got to be able to use their name and manipulate it into a good, catchy show title. So I think if maybe the former Labour leader, Jeremy, wanted to sort of do a show sort of addressing allegations that he was poisonous to the Labour Party, he could do a show called Corbyn Monoxide. I think that would really take it.
Or Liz Truss, because at least you know you'd be out early.
Okay, Glenn and Kathleen, it's now your turn. Who is this and why are they in the news?
Totally uneducated, left school literally at 14, although they didn't know that in Scotland. They thought I was going to come back.
Is this Lulu coming back for her farewell tour?
Lulu is preparing to embark on her final ever tour this week. It kicks off in Fife, and ahead of the concert, she's been reflecting on her singing career, which began with the hit Shout when she was just 15. She's also talked about her strict tour ritual that involves not speaking until after midday to protect her voice. Lulu's farewell tour will feature all her best-known hits like Shout, the 12-inch version of Shout, and the Shout 2024 remix. Kathleen, would you like to see Lulu on her farewell tour?
Yeah, I would. I think she's the most iconic Scottish person. I don't say that lightly. Like, William Wallace is pretty good, but he never won Eurovision. Do you know what I mean? Alexander Graham Bell never did a Bond song. And Walter Scott never even met Marty Pellow. So I think she's the best.
Gareth, would you like to see Lulu on her farewell tour? You're going to be queuing up to see our Lulu.
Oh, absolutely. I hope she plays all of her hit.
Crystal, would you go and see Lulu on her farewell tour?
Yeah, I'd go. I wasn't too familiar with her before I read this news story, but she seems cool. The interviewer seemed a little rude, though. I don't know if you read this interview. Like, he was like, Lulu is someone who likes to talk. It's like, dude, you're interviewing her.
She did say that. She said when she's on tour, she doesn't speak before midday to rest her voice. Glenn, do you have any pre-show rituals?
I used to do the same as her. And I used to enjoy it, never speak before midday, and it was quite good fun. Lost my job as a breakfast radio show host, but it was a good thing to do. I've heard that it's not even up until midday. I've heard she even goes further and doesn't even talk until the evening. Isn't that right, Lulu? Lulu?
Kathleen, do you have any pre-show rituals?
I think mine is just the same as everybody else's. It's not interesting. I look over my notes, I do my makeup, I sit in the pentagram and make the ritual sacrifice to Billy Connolly, as we all must do.
Crystal, do you have any pre-show rituals?
Oh, yeah. So I get in the car and I Google Maps where I'm supposed to go, realize that I haven't left myself enough time. to get there because Greenock is not as close to Glasgow as I originally thought. And I start the car, and then I send a panicked voice note from the road. I speed all the way there, usually in the rain. I get there. I say, "Can you believe this weather?" And then I get my speeding ticket in the post 2 weeks later, which was more than the fee for the gig. So
Lulu changed her name from Marie McDonald McLaughlin Laurie because she wanted to be a singer rather than a law firm. The legendary Lulu is the right answer. 2 points go to Glenn and Kathleen. Time now for our final quickfire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. I'll read out a headline, and all the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. Get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
I don't want to eat a sheep's head.
That's Greenock's own Martin Compston there, trying out a restaurant in Irvine. OK, let's go. There are 2,781 what in the world? Gareth.
Members of the Sugar Babes.
There are 2,781 what in the world? Crystal.
personalized license plates for people with no personality.
There are 2,781 what in the world? Kathleen.
Wonders, but the rest are secret.
Oh, now I'm intrigued. Now I'm intrigued. There are 2,781 what in the world? Glenn.
Is it seconds between Richard Attenborough saying welcome and to Jurassic Park?
It feels like it, but it's not the right answer. There are 2,781 billionaires, according to the new Forbes Rich list.
I don't want to eat a sheep's head.
Okay, that's the klaxon Martin has compsted. It's all over. And at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Crystal Evans and Gareth Waugh. Commiserations to Glenn Moore and Kathleen Hughes. And we'll leave you all with the breaking news just in. WWE will host its first ever Scottish wrestling match titled Clash at the Castle, despite it being held in Glasgow. Edinburgh nearly won the bid, but the Glasgow team surprised them from behind with a folding chair. 5 plastic-wrapped packages that washed up on a beach in Sydney have been found to be cocaine. Police say they're likely to find more, as since the story broke, they've never seen so many volunteers out cleaning the beach. And former Prime Minister Liz Truss was among the guests at Nigel Farage's 60th birthday party in London on Wednesday. Attendees at the party enjoyed a champagne reception and a sumptuous meal, followed by a spirited game of pin the blame on the migrant. The news is broken. I've been Jay Lafferty. Goodbye.